Oh, marry me, oh, marry my. It is a full index day. I need to lower this or increase the camera height maybe a little bit so my head isn't always cut off with the new lens, but it doesn't really matter. The Tyranids are out. The entire index. What you will be playing in 10th edition, besides the points, is out. And it is a long little sheet here. We are looking at a beautiful 94 pages. So this is gonna take a bit. I'm probably gonna be a bit more skimming with this than anything. A couple here or there, maybe not. Try to see exactly how to do it. We've seen a lot of certain things already. We can kind of skip past those for the most part, but let's go ahead and get started anyway, right? Tyranid army rules, we know that they have a combination of two, the Synapse and the Shadow in the Warp. It says, while a Tyranid's model unit from your army is within 6 inches of one or more Synapse models, they are within Synapse range. So it's 6 inches of a model that has the rule. And then, of course, the once per game, every enemy unit must take a battle shock test. If we move on, we have their classic hyper adaptations, which we have seen already: sustained hits, lethal hits, and precision on critical hits with Hive Predators. And after that, however, comes the stratagems and enhancements, which are the things we haven't really seen much of yet. And I think it might be kind of enjoyable to give this a look. So we have rapid regeneration, which is a 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after has selected a target, one Tyranid's unit. Until the end of the phase, they have the 6-up Feel No Pain ability. If your unit is within Synapse range, they instead have a 5-up Feel No Pain. So it is a nice reactive defensive buff to being shot. A little bit of extra Feel No Pain, even better if you are in Synapse range or probably, a Synapse model. Adrenal Surge is 2 Tyranid units from your army that are within Synapse range of your army and are eligible to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in one of those selected units makes an attack, and a successful unmodified hit roll of 5-up scores a critical hit, which I do believe basically is... Wait, scores a critical hit? 2 CP. Oh, okay. So this actually combines a little bit with a couple other possibilities. This is an invasion fleet stratagem. So a 5-up means a critical hit means exploding 6s on 5s and 6s, lethal hits on 5s and 6s, and the precision thing you're looking for. So it basically is a pretty solid buff in terms of the fight phase, and it's 2 units for 2 CP. So it's pretty good. Death Frenzy is a classic 4-up fight on death for unit models in that unit. Always good to have, always nasty to see. Overrun, Overrun. How I don't miss you at all. Fight phase just before a Tyranid's unit from your army consolidates. Until the end of the phase, each time the model makes a consolidation move, it can move at 6 inches instead of 3, provided your unit can end its consolidation move in unit coherency and within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. If your unit is within Synapse range of your army and not within engagement range of enemy units, instead it can, making that consolidation move, it can instead make a normal move up to 6 inches. So basically, it is a longer consolidation unless you're in Synapse range, in which it is basically just 6 inches anywhere you want, which is very, very good. If you, if you're not within range of other engagement range of other units. So, just a good way to get moving and get moving quick. And then the last 2 stratagems here are Endless Swarm. We've already know this one. You pick 2 Endless Multitude units and they regenerate D3+3 models, always nasty. And then Synaptic Insight is command phase. Up to 2 Tyranid units from your army that are within Synapse range. Select 1 hyper adaptation until the end of the battle round. That hyper adaptation is active for those selected units in addition to any of the others. You can also select the same hyper adaptation you selected at the start of the first battle round, which I guess wouldn't even really matter if we're being totally honest. So this is basically just getting 2 Tyranid units that are within Synapse range of your army, if they're within Synapse range, I think most of these are 2 things in Synapse or 1 thing out of Synapse. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much these 3. Yeah. And then, so basically you're just giving them the other adaptation you don't have for that phase. Or sorry, for that battle round. Yeah, I mean, these are all good. These are fine stratagems. I don't really have anything to write home about. They're all pretty good, and I'd say that most of them are useful. You know, they all have a good situation in which they will be useful. And honestly, I think that alone is what matters, is that they can be used. There is a time and a place. Will they be used a lot? Maybe, maybe not, but there is a time and a place. All right, enhancements. So these are replacing the warlord traits and relics for the most part. This is just all it is enhancements. So alien cunning. After both players have deployed their army, select up to 3 Tyranid units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you may put them in your reserves if you wish, regardless of how many are already in reserves. So this is your classic, this is known as a redeploy ability. We just call it redeploy. That's the slang term, I guess. Slang, my homies. But I will say that while it's still good, it always has been good. It's nice that you can put them in reserves regardless of the amount of models in reserves as well, because reserves has gotten a lot smaller. It's only 500 points. It used to be 1,000. So you can only put a quarter of, it's 500, right? Or is it 750? It's less. I know it's less. I think it's 500. It might be 750, but I think it's 500. Point being is that if you really wanted to put a lot of things in reserves, this will help you with that even more so after putting the 500. Synaptic Linchpin is Tyranid's model only, while a friendly Tyranid's unit is within 9 inches of the bear. The unit is within Synapse range. It's fine. You know, plus 3 inches to Synapse aura, basically. It's fine. Maybe a little bit better now because of the battle shock test, but that's all right. Perfectly adaptive. Tyranid's model only. Once per turn, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, 1 damage roll, 1 advance roll, 1 charge roll, or 1 saving throw. Okay, that's actually really solid, and that's for one reason. Once per turn. If it was for battle round, it would be okay. But since it's per turn, you can use it on, say, a saving throw on your opponent's turn, and then a charge roll on your turn, or something in between, right? It's very, very handy. Also, does it say who can and cannot have adaptations? Or can you just put it on whatever the hell you want? Does it have to be a character? Like, could I put this on an Exocrine, for example? I assumed it would only be for characters, if anything, but I guess it just says Tyranid's model. So I don't know. I mean, if I could, I'd just put this perfectly adapted on an Exocrine. Adaptive biology. The bear has a feel of no pain to 5 up. Well, that's really good. At the start of any turn, if the bear has fewer than its starting number of wounds remaining until the end of the battle, it has the feel of no pain 4. Oh my God. Oh my. Okay, well, you're going to see this one every single game. Wow. Holy hell. 5 of feel no pain naturally is already a massive defensive buff. And so if I just accidentally chip a wound off that guy at the end of the turn, he gets 4 up, feel no pain. Good God, that's so tanky. That's so tanky. Well, now I really need to know, because if I can put this on like a Tyrannofex or something with like 17 wounds, can I put these on Lords of War? Can I put this on like a Hierophant? I don't know if it's only character models or not. I don't know. I need to know. Is that in the army rules and attachment rules? No, it's not. All right, I have no idea. I guess we'll have to find out in the future. Now for the part that's going to take a while. The data sheets. All right. Let's back this out a little bit so we can start prepping. The Winged Hive Tyrant can be equipped with a monstrous bone sword, lash whip, tyrant talons, or is equipped with that, and it has a heavy venom cannon, a stranglethorn cannon, or monstrous scything talons. So the Winged Hive Tyrant is 12-inch move, T9, 2 up save, 10 wounds, not a leader, mind you, interesting, with a 4 up save and 3 OC. It is a Psyker, of course. I'm probably going to skim through these a bit more than most. Has Deep Strike, Shadow in the Warp, and Synapse. Let's see. Heavy Venom Cannon is Blast. D3 shots. I'm going to have to compare these to a few of the Waha data sheets while I'm doing this, just because I just think I would need to know. This might take me a while for it, but oh wait, Winged Hive Tyrant, here we go. So Winged Hive Tyrant now is T7 12 wounds with a 3-up save. So it actually has a 2-up save now still, or when the old one used to not. Maybe the walking one will have like higher toughness then. So Heavy Venom Cannon is 923. The old one was 934, Heavy 3. Now it's D3, so it's actually a substantial nerf overall. And Stranglethorn Cannon is also a substantial nerf, going down in AP and down to strength, which is even bigger nowadays considering what it is. Okay, so pretty significant nerfs to its ranged weaponry. As for its melee weaponry, Tyrant Talons are 722. Let's see here, 731, but with extra attacks. It doesn't have that anymore. So this looks like the base thing. If you wait, so it's like Monstrous Bone Sword and Lash Whip can be replaced with one of the following: Bone Sword and Lash Whip, and then Tyrant Talons. So it's one gun and then Tyrant Talons. Gotcha. Or you could have Monstrous Scything Talons, or the okay, right. So the Bone Sword and Lash Whip would be the melee build, which is 923. And that would be, so it's 1043 there. So it's a okay, well, so lots of nerfs overall. And then twin linked though, so the full rerolls to wound, which is nice. Okay, actually pretty substantial weapon nerfs across the board. The damage on this guy has been dropped huge, which I think is okay, because the Hive Tyrant basically killed everything it touched. And it also doesn't have a leader either. So it's just gonna be flying around to its own thing, beating people up. It says once per turn, the one friendly Tyranids unit within 12 inches of this of one or more models with this ability can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CP, even if it already has been targeted. So this is a classic case of you can use an additional stratagem for no cost. And then a Paroxysm is the psychic ability. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy within 12 invisible. On a 1, you suffer D3. On a 2, until the end of the phase, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristics of weapons equipped by models in that unit. It's a pretty good debuff. It's also the start of the fight phase, which is really nasty because you're already in it. And it's a great like defensive debuff and offensive debuff. You can go up there, hit someone with it, lower their attacks, or if they come at you, you can pick someone within 12 inches, which is a huge aura. So, you know, it's a 24-inch bubble. More than that because they have a big base. So that's actually a very, very good roll there. Definitely feels more supportive. I mean, don't get me wrong. The weapons will still hit. They'll still hurt. But the roll seems to have moved to less of a run up and murder you kind of thing to a slightly more fight phase dependent type thing. Also, you know, Will of the Hive Mind is just really good if you want to use something like Endless Multitude to just regenerate a whole bunch of swarm models. Okay, so we now have the regular Hive Tyrant, which can be attached to only Tyrant Guard. So regular Hive Tyrant is a leader, as opposed to the Winged Hive Tyrant. Monstrous Bone Sword and Lash, Monstrous Scything Talons, and then they can replace one or both, basically. Cannot be equipped with both a Stranglethorn Cannon and a Heavy Venom Cannon. Cannot be equipped with more than one Heavy Venom Cannon or one Stranglethorn Cannon. So it still has to be one melee, one gun, basically. Depends on just what you want to swap it with. Okay, so yes, it is tougher. It is a T10, not T9. Same amount of wounds, same save, same invul though, that whole deal. Same weapons here, same weapons here, so that's all the same. The weapon force is all the same. Same ability here. While a friendly Tyranid's unit is within 6 inches of this model, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have the assault ability. Okay, so that's what Onslaught gives him now. Okay, you know, it's okay. So you want to put a Hive Tyrant with Tyrant Guard. Actually, he's a leader, but he's actually like the same tankiness just a slightly higher tough, which actually makes this Hive Tyrant way tankier because he has a bodyguard retinue. It makes him significantly tankier, like technically, because he has a whole Hive Tyrant retinue to go with him. And if he can, you know, advance all the time in an aura. Interesting. So the Hive Tyrant, the walking Hive Tyrant is a chunky run at you guy, where the winged Hive Tyrant is still like kind of run at you, but it's a lot more supportive, I suppose. Still pretty tanky as a unit because it has a tank profile with a really good save and an invul. So, it might still get shot off the board by like las cannons and stuff rather quickly, but maybe not. I mean, hell, if you give it like a 5-up Feel No Pain and maybe then a 4-up Feel No Pain, then who knows? Okay, next up is the Swarm Lord. We have seen the Swarm Lord. He is very good. He is very, very good. He's got lots of power and he's nasty. So we will skip the Swarm Lord real quick. The Brood Lord can be equipped to Gene Stealers, and it has the Devastating Wounds and Twin Linked ability here, which I think we saw from the Patriarch. Scout 8 inches, cool, goes along with his Gene Stealers. T5, 6 wounds. All right, all looks pretty fine. When the small is leading a unit, they have Devastating Wounds ability. That is very scary because Gene Stealers have lots of very stabby attacks and lots of attacks, so a good amount of mortal wounds will come out of them. At the start of the fight phase, select one enemy unit with an engagement range of this model until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes attacks, one way hit roll. That's fine. The fact that it's within engagement range of this model and not unit is a bit rough. It means you really got to be leading from the front with the Brood Lord, but I guess since he's a leader, it doesn't really matter because you just take damage on his bodyguards anyway. So it should be fine. Winged Tyranid Prime, we've seen this already. I think it's kind of mid. Don't much like it a whole lot. It just feels meh. Gargoyles, and then there's the warrior combos. Is this the Trygon? Oh, I love my beloved. I love the Trygon. It's such a fun model. Okay, Stinger Salvos and Massive Scything Talons that can be replaced with Massive Crushing Claws. It is T11, 2-up save, 16 wounds, no invul though. And then it has a damage characteristic. Stinger Salvos are 501 with 8 shots. I think that's pretty darn close to what it is right now. 511, so slight AP nerf. Big old Deadly Demise, and then Massive Scything Talons are weaker but have a sweep mode, whereas Crushing Claws are just giant anti-tank claws, but with a worse weapon skill and all that stuff. I'd say that I might... Ooh, huge AP drops across the board here. It looks like they really wanted to lower the damage done by Tyranids overall in terms of their weapons. Which makes sense because it looked like they were making them into more of a control army. So I guess that makes sense. Okay, Spawn Termagants. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Termagants unit within 6 inches of this model and return up to D3+3 your destroyed Termagants to that unit. A Termagants unit cannot be selected for this ability more than once per phase. While a friendly Termagants unit is within 6 inches of this model, ranged weapons have the lethal hits ability. Okay, I mean, it's fine. I kind of hoped it would like birth more Termagants. This requires your Termagants to survive in order to get this benefit. But I won't lie, the ability to use this coupled with a stratagem to return 2d3 plus 6 Termagants is pretty crazy, especially since it's in the command phase and you can like flip an objective that way. And giving them lethal hits is also quite good. It helps out their relatively weak strength weapons. So, it's fine overall. It's nothing particularly fancy-pantsy, I wouldn't say, but it's something. All right, Old One Eye, a particular favorite. Can be attached to Carnifexes as a leader. Has Old One Eye. Yeah, it's all just Old One Eye, yeah. Epic hero, of course. T9, 9 wounds, 2-up save, no invul. 5-up Feel No Pain, however, pretty good to stick in with the leaders. Old One Eye's Talons strike 6 attacks at strength 14, 3, and D6+1. That is actually the strongest profile I think I've seen in terms of this kind of melee for NIDs. This actually will put some serious hurt on vehicles. strength 14. Like you can charge him into a monolith and you might actually do like 10 wounds or something. That's actually genuinely solid with 6 attacks. Little surprising he hits on 3s, not 2s. Little surprised by that, but it is what it is. And then 12 attacks at 611. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can re-roll the hit roll. Oh, that's really good. Okay. Oh, well, never mind. Screw the hitting on 2s part. That's fine by me. He's going to get full re-rolls to hit. Oh, goodness. With all the Carnifexes he's hanging out with, at the start of each player's command phase, this model regains of D3 wounds. Each player, unstoppable monster. Yeah, no shit. That's going to be infuriating. That's going to be infuriating. He's just going to like keep on growing and growing and growing and beat your butt, especially with a 5-up feeling of pain. Yeesh. Old One Eye is looking juiced. My goodness gracious. Wow. That is a solidly hard-hitting profile. And good with the Carnifexes. Yeah. All right. Okay, here's the Tyranid Warrior thing. All right, here's the thing that I'm a little bit more worried about. Okay. Tyranid Warriors with ranged weapons. Each model is equipped with Devourer and Bio weapons. Any number of models can each have their Devourer placed with Spine Fists or a Death Spitter. For each 3 models, they can have a Barbed Strangler. For each 3 models, they can have a Venom Cannon. Okay, so it does appear that there are 2. There is a melee only build and a ranged only build, which, you know, I don't love that at all. That kind of removes a huge amount of flexibility of the Tyranid Warriors. I guess I am happy that the modeling problem isn't really there. Basically, does it or does it not have a gun? If it has a gun, it's ranged. If it has no gun, it's melee, which makes the modeling issue not so bad. Because if like modeling was obsolete, I would be pretty infuriated, but it doesn't seem to be. So I guess it's fine. Because it seems that its melee is all moved into one profile. Bone swords and all that stuff, it's all been consolidated into one profile. So listen, so they're T5, 4-up save, 3 wounds, 2 OC. Okay, so pretty similar to the old stat line. This unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. That's a very good buff to have, yeah. And then all their weapons here, Devourers, Death Spitters, Barbed Stranglers, it's all just pretty the same. The Venom Cannon is not like the Heavy Venom Cannon, where we get on 3. It hits on 4s with its guns. Interesting. Its ballistic skill is a 4-up now with its guns instead of a 3-up, but it still has a 3-up ballistic skill in its for its melee. I guess that brings the question. Did the Hive Tyrant? No, the Hive Tyrant still hit on 2s for their ballistic skill. Okay. Yeah, did the Tyrgon do the same? No, the Tyrgon hit on 3s. Maybe because it's not like a leader character kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, all these guns, they all hit on 4s now for the most part. Yeah, all hit on 4s. And they have a couple of various profiles. Nothing really jumps out at me as being heavily changed. The main thing is just that the melee weapon is 5 attacks at 511. 5 attacks at 511. But the melee version of Tyranid Warriors, same stat line. It's 6 attacks at 521 and twin linked. So they get an extra AP, they get an extra attack, and they get full rerolls to wound for the melee version of the Warriors. And they also have here, which is at the start of the fight phase, you can select one of the following abilities to apply to models in this unit until the end of the phase. Reroll a hit roll of 1, or each time a saving throw is made, reroll a saving throw of 1. Oh, I haven't seen a saving throw reroll like that since 7th edition, the Dark Times. Huh. So, like, from a gameplay point of view, this isn't too bad. They both have a role, and from a modeling point of view, it isn't too bad. It kills a bit of the customization, and that kind of sucks. It really does kind of suck with that whole thing. It kills the intrigue of the weapons you are carrying for them. But at the same time, like, I'm just glad no one's models are going to become obsolete. I'm just happy about that for the most part. Like, you're either a ranged unit or a melee unit, and they both have their upgrades and their benefits. So, you know, GW has made some pretty terrible decisions when it comes to model removing and model adjustments. This one is like one of the lesser awful possibilities. One of the lesser ones for the most part, I'd say. It's not, it's not love it, but it's not like horrid, you know? All right, Termagants. We've already seen the classic Termagants. We know how the Termagants are living and living their lives. Hormagants, however, are also 10 to 20, and they hit on a 4-up, 3 attacks at 3/1/1, and it can declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. All right, pretty. Oh, wow, they're fast. 10-inch move. God damn, they are flying across the board. Holy hell. Damn, plus an advance roll. Whew, they're going. And what else we got here? The Gargoyles as well. The Gargoyles are a battle line unit as well. So these are all little battle line guys. They have 6-up save, 3T12 or 12-inch move. They're blinding venom, which is just a regular punch attack. In your shooting phase, as this unit has shot, if it is not within engagement range, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches. It is not eligible to charge. Okay, so they could get like a shoot move, move shoot move, move shoot move, move shoot move. Okay, all right, it's pretty cool for Gargoyles. I like that. If this unit has shot, if it's not within engagement range, it's actually pretty all right too, because if you use it with the winged Tyranid Prime that can be attached to Gargoyles, it can probably move with it because it's the unit. And that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty solid. I like that. Okay. The Toxicrene. I love this model. And it is terrible because of the way it's made. It's like a gigantic Gribbly, and it's so hard to model properly. But let's look at this guy. So 8-inch move, T11, 3-up save, 14 wounds, no invul, 4 OC. Each summon enemy unit, excluding Titanic, within engagement range of 1 or more units from this army, with this ability to try to fall back on a 3-up, that unit must remain stationary instead. So that's the hold unit combat ability. At the end of your movement phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model. On a 2 through 3, it suffers a mortal. On a 4 through 5, it suffers D3. And on a 6, it suffers D6. Owie. Owie. At the end of your movement phase, too. So the Toxicrene is no longer just a big melee threat. It is it just being alive spews damage across the enemy. You could spike this really hard. You could just roll a 6 and murder like 2 Terminators. Like a 6 and a 6, you know? So what does it have here? Massive Toxic Lashes shooting attack. It is 2d6 shots on a 6 on 6/1/2, anti-infantry 2-up. And then its melee weapon is the exact same, but with a maxed out roll. Wow. So this is just kill infantry, just like eat up entire squads. Like this will eat an entire squad of Space Marines. You know, like all 5 of them. And then probably you can spit them at one guy and then eat them the rest. Like that is actually a respectable amount of damage. That is a lot. And it's not too bad tank wise. It's kind of a big tough tank kind of model. Doesn't move that fast, but it doesn't really need to with that miasma ability. This might be the best I've ever seen the Toxicrene, which is depressing to say because the Toxicrene is such a fun model, but this might be the best I've ever seen the Toxicrene. It is looking really cool. All right. Tyrant Guard, 3-6, Scything Talons and Rending Claws, and can be replaced with various combination of melee weapons. They are T8 with 4 wounds. They're tough. They are tough. Only a 3-up save, though, not a 4-up save. While a character model is leading this unit, that character has the 5-up Feel No Pain ability. Right. Oh, it's in case the character is singled out either from precision attacks or a heroic challenge, the stratagem, or something like that. Okay, so that's the reason why. It's basically a better guard move. So it's not just ablative wounds, but it's also helping save the character even when the ablative wounds don't work. Okay, that makes sense. Scything Talons and Rending Claws are 5/1/1, 5 attacks. Crushing Claws and Rending Claws are 3 attacks at 8/2/2. Then Bone Cleaver, Lash Whip, and Rending Claws are 3 attacks at 5/1/2. But it's twin linked. I mean, I'm not quite sure. It's minimum 3 Tyrant Guard. I would probably take maybe the Bone Cleaver one. It's fewer attacks, but it's more consistent, and it hits on 3s, and it's twin linked. Feels more consistent. But I mean, if I wanted like the higher damage and the higher AP, it's one thing. If I want anti-horde, they all have a place for the most part, but I think the Bone Cleaver, Lash Whip, and Rending Claws might be the better one. Maybe just personally. We have seen the Nero Tyrant already. We know which that one is. That was in the prior episode. The Lictor. Oh, that model souls. The Lictor. Okay. 6 toughness 6, 4 up save, 6 wounds. 5 of Minville, so it's okay, stat line. It has fights first. That is the best buff to its stat line out of everything. It is an infiltrator, is a lone operative, and it is a stealth model. So cannot be shot outside of 12 inches, -1 to hit even when shot, and it fights first. And it can infiltrate. That's all a pretty good retinue of options there. Each time this model destroys an enemy character model, you gain 1 CP. That is very good. That is very good. That is very handy to have by eating their face. And then Pheromone Trail. Once per battle round, you can target one model with this ability with the Rapid Ingress stratagem for 0 CP. Oh, I guess if it's in reserves. Yeah, I guess if it's in reserves, you can just kind of put it around somewhere, make its way through. Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Reserves are free, so, you know. I guess that makes sense. And then weapons 7/2/2, 6 attacks with precision. Oh, to murder a character out of the group. Okay, so you jump on a group, you fights first, and you put all of your attacks into a character, and you maybe eat his face and gain a CP. That's fun. It's definitely nerfed from the old Lictor. The old Lictor is really good, but he was too good. So the old Lictor was just such a strong tech piece, in my opinion, especially with the alien cunning trait. Oh, it was so nasty. That's fine. That's a fine guy there. The Death Leaper, epic hero as well. Cannot be your warlord. All right. So let's wait 6 and then 7 wounds. So I guess 1 extra wound. Fights for all the exact same stuff. Same feeder tendrils. Exact same melee weapon profile. Better invul. Denote 4 up invul. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, worsen the leadership characteristics of my models by that unit by 1. In addition, in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit is below starting strength, it must take a battle shock test. So it makes it, if they even lost a single guy, they have to take a battle shock test and all. It's kind of like the Predator thing where they killed one of the guys and then that makes them like freak out more. It's fun. I don't know if it's any better than the Lictor, but it's I mean it's better in some ways, but it'll obviously have a points difference. So I don't know. It could be good. It actually could be pretty good just with the whole fact of the Shadow and the Warp Blast. So all right, what's next? Oh, the Maleceptor, the bane of early 9th edition NIDs. All right, Psychic Overload and Massive Scything Talons. So it is a 11 toughness, 3 up save, 14 wounds with a 4 up invul, which is pretty nasty. And then it has Encephalic Diffusion. Okay. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. And if that enemy unit was below half strength, 1 from the wound roll as well. So it's got an aura of debuffing. -1 to hit naturally, -1 to wound if under half strength. Okay, pretty good. That's also really debilitating to add to the Shadow and the Warp possibility in the battle shock. Psychic Overload is its gun. 18-inch range blast. D6 plus 3 shots at 10-3. That's a pretty meaty profile. I mean, that is a very meaty profile. That will rip up Space Marine Terminators specifically. It's like almost tailor-made to kill them. Exactly double their toughness, exactly to their invul, and exactly their threshold. It is tailor-made to kill them. And then the blast is nice, so it has to help it out a little bit for its psychic ability. And then the Scything Talons attack and sweep. I mean, this is obviously way worse than the old Maleceptor or a guy where every single time you succeeded a psychic test with a 7 or up or whatever, you did 3 mortal wounds, which was insanity. But this gun is pretty solid. The diffusion ability is okay. It's not amazing. The range is a bit short. Kind of would have preferred if you could have like pointed at somebody within 12 and said, you -1 to hit and stuff. But it's actually quite a tanky model. A 4-up invul save with 14 wounds and T11. It's pretty tanky. It's tanky. It has good shots. I'm trying to rate it from like a 10th edition point of view, where how does it feel in 10th edition comparatively to its 9th edition counterpart? Its 9th counterpart is significantly better, but most of them are. So it's not quite fair to like entirely look at it that way. All right. Pyrovores. Yes. These guys were also really busting. T6, 4 wounds, 3-up save, meaty profile. In your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, select one enemy unit but hit by 1 or more of those attacks, they cannot have the benefit of cover. So you're burning them out, basically. Its melee is abhorrently bad. Never get them in melee. Good God. But the Flame Spur is ignores cover, torrent, and twin linked. It's D6 plus 1 shots with full rerolls to wound. That actually put on some hurt. That's actually a pretty nasty profile. That'll hurt really bad. A full rerolls to wound flamer that has a slightly higher strength and extra shot. Yeah. All right. Pyrovores, pretty cool. The Horrorspecs. What an absolutely weirdo model. Grasping Tongue, Ravenous Maw, and Shoveling Claws. So roughly the same stat line as the Maleceptor, it would appear. Grisly Spectacle. Each time this model is selected to fight after resolving its attacks, if 1 or more enemy units were destroyed by those attacks, each enemy unit within 6 must take a battle shock test. That is very good. It is a gigantic aura. Like you run in there, you eat something, and then everyone around you is freaking out. Because yeah, it is a very grisly spectacle. That's actually pretty. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's that can have a really solid way to debilitate the enemy. What's this? Ranged weapon, Grasping Tongue, precision. 1 shot, 12-inch range, 6/2, D6 plus 1. Oh, wow. So this is literally, it's precision. So you could really roll up to a group of guardsmen or whatever and be like, oh, company commander. Like a frog. Just, and if you just roll well enough for that, you just kill him. You just grab him, you just fucking break his body apart, eat him. That is actually kind of terrifying and in an awesome way. How about its melee weapons? 14 attacks. Oh my God. 7, 1, 2. And Shoveling Claws are extra attacks at 4 attacks at 14, 2, D6 plus 1. Holy hell. The Horrorspecs rips. He will kill like full 10-man guard squads among other kinds of stuff. And he will put hurt on tanks and on, oh my goodness gracious. Holy shit. Oh, kiss me, darling. Good God. The Horrorspecs is looking like one of the better models so far. God damn, that is a great debuff right here. It is still tanky, not like mega tanky, but still tanky. And that is a enormous volume of attacks. Once this thing gets in melee, you are pretty doomed. And you might just snipe out a character, which is hilarious. Damn. Hot damn, that thing is nasty. Zoanthropes. All right. No be attached to anything. So T5, 3 wound, 4-up save. Toxic Lashes is 5 attacks at anti-infantry, 2-up, 301. It's fine. While a friendly Tyranid's unit is within 6 inches of this unit, each time a ranged attack targets that unit, they have the benefits of cover. In addition, while a friendly Tyranid's unit, excluding monsters, is within 6 inches of this unit, models in the unit have the stealth ability. Okay, so it is a buffing piece like before. Within 6 inches of Venomthropes, they have the benefit of cover, and they also get -1 to hit. It's pretty good. It's a solid a buff. That's a good defensive buff in general. Yeah, that's a good defensive buff. Combine that with the anti-psyker Gribbly guy that gives a aura of feel no pain. That could be pretty nasty to deal with. Be a good death ball. We have already seen Von Ryan's Leapers. They are looking pretty solid as well. Okay, there's these damn Nero Gaunts. God damn it, they haven't shown off any of the Node Beast things. And this is Zoanthrope. God damn it. God damn it. All right, so it's just, these things are terrible. They're so bad. They're so bad. I hate them. I hate everything you stand for. I hope you were like 4 points a model or something like that. Because then you might actually be worth it as a way to just be tanky, dealing with, what's it called? The Nero Tyrant to have ablative wounds. All right, Zoanthropes. Oh, interesting. So the Zoanthropes are a single Neurothrope and then Zoanthropes on top of that. Interesting. So the Neurothrope is just the name of the sergeant, I suppose. Maybe. Unless there's more down there that'll show it off. Oh, we'll see. T5, 5-up save, 3 wounds, and a 4-up invul. So it's the 4-up invul we're relying on with T5 and 3 wounds, which is somewhat decent. While this unit contains a Neurothrope, while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this unit, each time an enemy fails a battle shock test, it suffers D3 mortal wounds, and one model in this unit regains up to D3 lost wounds. Oh, that's good. Especially with this kind of army that loves to sap battle shock and loves to hit you with battle shock tests. That's solid. D3 mortals and you regain wounds. That's pretty solid. That's really good. While a friendly Tyranid's unit within 6 inches of this unit, models have a 6-0 invul save. Okay, so a little defensive buff and a solid defense, or a solid offense move. And then you have their Warp Blast ability, which, because their Xeno Claws and Teeth is terrible, melee is terrible for them. So it is either D3 shots at 7-2 D3 or 1 shot with lethal hits at 12-3 D6 plus 1. So it is actually an anti-tank and anti-elite. And each model has that? So you got minimum three giant shots, or they're a bit squishy from an overall point of view, but I mean, that's a good gun. That is a psychically solid gun. And then the so long as it contains the Neurothrope, yeah. Okay. We have seen Gene Stealers already. They're looking also quite nasty. Raveners. I mean, they're just like fast warriors, right? T5, 3 wounds. Thoracic bioweapon is a bolter shots, a few of them. Twin-linked Ravener claws and talons. It's pretty good. It's not as good as the dedicated Tyranid Warriors that are meant for melee, but it's got extra attack, which is cool. At the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can remove it from the battlefield and place it in strategic reserves. At the end of your opponent's turn, gotcha. End of your opponent's turn, you could take it away. You can basically do the Grey Knight thing, where you take them away and you can bring them back in your turn later on. So they just go, vroom. It's pretty good. Especially if they kill something in your enemy. All right, so they're speedier. They move more. We have seen the Ripper Swarms already. We know what's up with that. The Parasite of Mortrex. This model is equipped with barbed ovipositor and clawed limbs. 12-inch move, T5, 4 up, save, 5 wounds. It has deep strike, lone operative, and stealth, so it's keeping itself alive that way. Clawed limbs is 6 attacks at 511. The barbed, whatever the hell, is 3 extra attacks at 323. No, it's 1 extra attack at 323, but it has anti-infantry 3 up. Gotcha. Okay. Parasitic infection. Each time an infantry model is destroyed by an attack made by this model's barbed that. After this model is finished making its attacks, you can add 1 new Ripper Swarm unit from your army consisting of D3 models within 3 inches. Can be set within engaging range of the destroyed model's unit, but not within engaging range of other enemy units. The start of the fight phase, select 1 enemy unit within engaging range of this model. The enemy unit must take a battle shock test at the start of the fight phase. It itches. Okay, so you're kind of banking on killing something with the guy, but you might. It has to be infantry. It has anti-infantry 3 up though, so you basically need to roll a 2 and a 3, which is not a very high chance, as much as you think it is. You will fail that often, but free models is great, especially because you can put it within engaging range. All right. The Moloch, my beloved. I love the Moloch. It is such a fun model. This and the Trygon. Both of these like Gribbly Trygons and Moloch versions. I love this model. It is so fun. It is such a good time. It is so silly, but enjoyable. 10-inch move, T10, 14 wounds, no invul, deep strike. Cool. Each time this unit is set up on the battlefield using the deep strike ability, roll 1d6 for each enemy within 12 inches of this model. What? Oh, well, it's within 9 inches of the opponent. So, okay, it might not be that many. On a 2 through 4, they suffer D3 mortals. On a 5, they suffer 3 and must take a battle shock test. No shit. And it says each time this unit is set up on the battlefield using the deep strike ability. So I could run 2 Molochs and just be like, bam, bam, and just do a ton of mortal wounds. And possibly force battle shock. Nasty, actually. Well, it's attacks. So it's got 1 extra attack with its jaw. Anti-infantry 4 up, devastating wounds, and then 503. Okay, so it's just a nice like bit of extra mortals. Moloch Scything Talons, 16 attacks at 821. Holy hell. Holy hell. It's giving the Horrorspecs a run for its money. As like a different point, I suppose, but oh shit. Well, what's the Trygon have then in that case? Roughly a similar stat line. Each time this model is set up on the battlefield using the deep strike ability, it can be set up anywhere in the battlefield that's more than 3 inches horizontally. When doing so, if this model is set within 9 inches of more than 1 enemy units, is not able to charge. Okay, so you can set it up closer, but not charge. I guess maybe to like flip an objective, maybe. Bioelectric pulse sustain hits 2, okay, and then 501, 6 shots, it's fine. Trygon Scything Talons, melee 12 hits on 3s, 9, 2, 3. Holy. So the Moloch has more attacks and the Terror from the Deep ability, but the Trygon is way more anti. So this is anti-horde and a little bit of anti-everything with the mortals. And then the Trygon is a anti-elite and maybe even a little bit of tank with that many attacks. Good God, these things rip. They absolutely tear up. Golly. Ha! The mucoloid spores. These little guys. Equipped with nothing. 4-inch move. T4. 3 wounds. Each enemy units cannot start or end an advance move within 6 inches of this unit. An advance move. Interesting. Each time an enemy unit ends a move within 3 inches of this model, of a model in this unit, each time a model in this unit ends a move within 3 inches of an enemy unit, roll 1d6. On a 2 through 5, they suffer d3 mortals, and on 6, the enemy unit suffers d6. The model in that unit is that caused that roll is then destroyed. Gotcha. So okay, so it's slowing the enemy down by being this bio minefield. It's slowing them down. They cannot do advance rolls, basically, which is better than just like stopping them from a movement point of view. But then it explodes and then it does mortals, you know. if you're within 3. But of course, it can be shot still. So, okay. What about spore mines, which were an equally difficult situation to deal with? T1, 1 wound. Enemy units. Okay, same thing. And then just a worse version of it. Only 1 mortal on 2 through 5, and then D3 on a 6, which is fine. You know, you can actually maybe spike some good rolls with that. Okay. The Exocrine. Yes, yes. T10, 14 wounds, 3-up save. Well, not as tanky as I thought it would be, actually. In your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a friendly Tyranid's model makes an attack that targets that unit, reroll a hit roll of 1. Okay, so the name makes sense. Symbiotic targeting. You fire at something, then everyone else. So you want to lead with the Exocrine. Fire it and then let everything else fire after. Bioplasmic Cannon, Blast, Heavy, D6 plus 3. 3 shots, or hitting on 3s, 8, 3, 3. All right. It's not very anti-tank. It's not. It's very anti-elite. Anti-heavy elite. Things like Custodians, maybe. Or other stuff like that. Few good shots. Blast is good. It'll give you an extra shot every so often. Heavy is also good. So +1 a hit if you remain stationary. It's not a bad profile. It's actually got a good AP. AP3 is rarer now, and that's actually pretty solid. But it's definitely less of a tank murderer like it used to be. So I wonder if the Tyrannofex will be taking over that spot. Oh, hey, Biovores. T6, 4 wounds, 4-up save. Yep. Spore Mine Launcher. Blast, devastating wounds, heavy, and indirect fire. D3 shots, 6, 1, 2. Hits on 4s, though, so it's actually not that frightening overall. It might be hitting on, with indirect plus the heavy, it'll stay at 4s. In your shooting phase, each time this unit is selected to shoot, it can use this ability instead of making shots with its weapons. If it does, you can add a new Spore Mines unit to your army and set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is within 48 inches of this unit, but more than 9 inches horizontally from enemy units. That Spore Mines unit contains 1 model for each model in this unit. So if you had 3 Biovores, you could just forego their shooting and put 3 Spore Mines. Okay, all right. I see the use. This isn't that worrying. The devastating wounds is a little frightening, I'm not gonna lie, but it's low attacks, not a great ballistic skill, and yeah, I'm not too worried about it overall as far as indirect fire goes. Carnifexes. Look at all these options. I'm just gonna go right through this. I just want to see their stat line. T9, 2-up save, 8 wounds. That's great. Very tanky, solid amount right there. There's too much to cover here, but as far as I'm concerned, they're all hitting on 4s, which is interesting, but I know that old One Eye gives them reroll wounds. I wonder... Yeah, it makes an attack. So it's hit roll, it's shooting and melee. All right, I lost my place. There we are. Shooting and melee. Oh, whoops. So each time this unit is selected to shoot after that unit has shot, if any models from this unit lost 1 or more wounds as a result of those attacks, to do so, it can make a blistering assault move. To do so, roll 1d6, adding 2 to the result. Each model in this unit can be moved a distance as in inches up as to the result, but this unit must finish that move as close as possible to the next enemy unit. When doing so, those models can be moved within engaging range of that enemy unit. Each unit can only make 1 blistering assault move per phase. Well, okay, yeah. D6 plus 2. That they, with 8-inch move, they shoot and then move. Oh, that's actually really fast. I could totally see a Carnifex rushdown strat. With that tankiness, that many wounds, and that toughness, I could totally see a rushdown strat. Yeah, 100%. Huh? That is fast. They can move, especially if they run with like the assault weapons, like the bioplasma. They can move, assault, and shoot, and then like assault again with +2. It's pretty scary. We have seen the Screamer Killer already. Hive Guard, my not beloved, my very far from beloved. Let's see if you guys are acceptable now. T7, 4 wounds, 3 up save. Okay, so pretty tough. Impaler Cannon, heavy and indirect fire. 4 shots at 511. That is totally fine. Hits on 4s. That is totally fine. Oh, thank God. Okay, that's totally fine. We're cool with that. We're cool with that. And then Shock Cannon is 2 shots at 713. That's fine. Each time you target this unit with the fire Overwatch stratagem while resolving that stratagem, hits are scored on unmodified hit rolls of 5 up or 4 up if it is within range of an objective marker. That's pretty good. I mean, Overwatch for these guys would be pretty solid. You move them within 24 inches and they're on the objective, they just go pop, pop, pop. That's actually pretty okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. All right, this isn't too worrying. This isn't too worrying at all. I think we're okay. I was quite frightened, but I think we're okay overall. Ah, the Tyrannofex. Let's see. All right. Tyrannofex, 12, toughness 12, 2 up save, 16 wounds. Each time an attack is allocated to this monster, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic. Nice. I think a lot of people ask if they do like damage characteristic 1 down to 0. I don't think so. I don't think anything is allowed to be reduced to 0. So that actually makes it really tanky. Not a great melee profile, but I think we've seen the Rupture Cannon already. Yeah, 2 shots at strength 18, AP 4, 2d6 damage, which is very good, but you also might just fail this. You know, it's 2 shots on 3s, and then you're probably wounding them also on 3s if you're firing at a major vehicle. So you might just fail it, but AP 4 still means the damage will go right through, and you might end up spiking a pretty solid damage roll. I mean, on average, it's damage 7, but it is swingy. It has Stinger Salvos as well, which are fine. The Flesh Borer Hive is also 20 shots, at heavy with sustained hits 1, and then twin linked. So, I mean, that is your anti-horde option. That will just shred infantry. Like it's no one's business, you know. You're basically hitting on 2s because of sustained hits 1. You might even be hitting on 2s plus 1 to hit or whatever, in a sense, if you're stood stationary with the heavy. I guess that's the same thing with the Rupture Cannon. It is heavy, so you could be hitting on 2s with it, technically, if you don't move. And then twin linked, full rerolls to wound on that. Like, if you just wanted to delete a 20-man guardsman squad every single turn, you could basically just do that. And then Acid Spray is the Flamer anti-elite version, which is also still pretty good. The Tyrannofex is looking like a monster to kill, if anything. Like the -1 damage and then this tankiness, it's going to be hard to take down. The Tyrannocyte. Carrying capacity of 20 infantry or 1 monster with 12 or less. Each infantry model with a wounds characteristic of more than 1 takes the space of 3 models, that being like warriors and stuff. Okay. Oh, no firing deck. T10, T9, 10 wounds, 3 up save. This model must start the battle in reserves, but neither it nor any units embarked with it are counted towards the limits placed on the reserves. Okay, cool. This model can be set up in the reinforced step of your first, second, second or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. Any units embarked within this model must immediately disembark after being set on the battlefield. They must be more than 9 inches away. So it's basically a drop pod. It's a turn 1 drop pod. Yeah. It's a turn 1 drop pod as a Tyrannocyte. It has 5 shots at 512, which is actually pretty all right. It says Tyranid Tyrannocyte bioweapons, just the 1. So 5 shots, and then kind of an okay melee profile. It actually kind of hits. It actually has the ability to kind of hit. Huh. How funny. I mean, cool. That's cool. That's pretty solid. What is this? The Hive Crone. Drool Cannon, Stinger Salvos, Tentaloids, Scything Wings, and Thorax Spurs. 20+ inch move because it is an aircraft. T9, 12 wounds. Has the hover thing, which is like you pick before the game starts. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that targets a unit that can fly, add 1 to the hit roll. Cool. Drool Cannon, Torrent. It is just a that flamer. And then stinger salvos we've seen before. Tentaclids, anti-vehicle 4-up, devastating wounds. So 4 attacks, so you know, you might get like 2 to 4 mortal wounds off. And then scything wings, 7/1/2, and then thorax spur, anti-fly, 2-up, 10/3. It's D6 extra attack. So it's 1 more just anti-flyer murderer ability. I mean, it's got a lot of guns. I won't lie. Has a lot of shots. A lot of shots actually. So this will actually be a pretty nasty thing to deal with if you get if you're fighting like a horde army, I suppose. And then the Harpy, bringer of death and doom, with its heavy venom cannons and stuff. 9-inch or T9, 12 wounds. Each one small ends a normal move. It can do one of the following. Select 1 enemy unit it moved over during that move and roll 6d6 for every 3-up. It can suffers 1 mortal wound. Or add a new spore mines unit containing D3 models to your army. Set up anywhere on the battlefield that's within 6 inches of this model and more than 9 inches horizontally. That's actually kind of cool. I like that the Harpy can spawn spore mines. That's kind of fun. It has to be within 6 inches of the model though, but like that's kind of fun. That's kind of a fun idea. Add a new spore, yeah, or just drop like a bomb. And this bomb isn't that bad. 6d6s and a 3-up. There's a mortal. It's about 4 mortal wounds on average. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. Stinger salvos are fine. Twin Stranglethorn cannons are still pretty good in terms of their shots, but they're twin linked. Yeah, because the shot volume is way less. Way less, because now it is twin linked, not double the shots. So instead of 2d3 shots, it is now d3 with rerolls to wound, which I think is fine. It'll make the Harpy more of a roll for its spore mines than it would for its weapons, which I think is very good. Ah, the spore assist. The spore assist, it is a fortification, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a T10, 10 wounds, 3-up save. And the bioweapons have Hive defenses. 5 shots at 5/1/2. Each time an enemy unit is set up or ends a normal advance or fallback move within range of this weapon, that enemy unit is a eligible target. The bearer can shoot with this weapon as if it were your shooting phase. This bearer can do up to 4 times per phase. Okay, so within that's all right. 4 attempts. That's actually not too bad. You'll hit about 2 to 3 of the shots, and then you might plink a couple wounds off. It's not bad. Bear can shoot this weapon. So they move like tanks and stuff up. You can just choose not to. And then, of course, the funny whips. In your shooting phase, each time this model is selected to shoot, it can use this ability instead of making any attacks with its ranged weapons. If it does, you can add a new Mucilid Spores model with an 18-inch. Right, okay, so this spawns Mucilid Spores, just Mucilid Spores in your shooting phase, but it's also like a defensive ability. You place this thing down, and when people get close, you start firing. And you can either fire or spawn spores. Both good options. Ah, there's the Psychophage. Yes. This is the one we saw earlier. And then the Barb Gaunts. And that's it. No Forge World or anything, it would seem. At least not here. Okay. Thoughts. The big stabby monsters are looking very good. The Screamer Killer is looking great, but specifically things like the Moloch, the Trygon, and the Horrorspecs, are looking very, very good. The Zoanthropes are looking also quite nasty, as well as the, what was the other thing I thought was kind of good? The Toxicrene, that's right. A lot of the really big monster mash things are looking quite strong. I like a lot of the big monsters right now. They're the ones that stand out the most to me. The Tyranid Warrior change is a bit aggravating, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. You can still use them. You just might need to adjust the sizes of your squads and which go with which. They do definitely have a very interesting difference in terms of their overarching power. I just need to know what the enhancements do. If the enhancements can only go on characters or leaders or whatever, that is a massive difference in comparatively to other stuff. A massive difference. Because it going on a Trygon is one thing. It going on like a 5 of Feeling of Pain on a Horrorspecs or a Trygon as it rips through your entire army is a whole other deal. For the most part, most of their guns have been pretty substantially nerfed. The NIDs, their guns have really been dropped down, but their melee prowess seems to still be very good. It seems like they want to keep you, like Guard are a shooting horde army, right? And their melee is bad, mid or whatever. NIDs are a melee horde army with their shooting being kind of mid for the most part. Orcs are a shooting and melee army, about 60-40 in the melee side. But they hit like crap with their 5-up ballistic skill, so their guns still have high profiles, but they just don't hit well. So it seems that the Tyranids have been moved to a more stabby variant than a shooty variant, which I'm pretty okay with. The overarching ability they have is pretty good. Their detachment rules are pretty good. I mean, obviously points are something that we need to check out, of course. Old One Eye is looking nasty. Old One Eye is looking like a goddamn king. The king is back, baby. Other than that, though, nothing is really standing out as being particularly disgusting outside of the giant gribbly bugs. I like the new way they're doing spores. Spores feel better now overall. I like their position, their point. Molochs and Trygons are looking, the Moloch is looking really good. So is a Trygon, but I like the Moloch's like Death from Below ability. Spores are looking pretty solid as well. Exocrine might not be as good as I thought. Biovores are a bit interesting. The Carnifexes look like they can be really nasty depending on their points. Actually, the Carnifexes are looking really scary. I don't know what their point cost will be, but their ability to move at you after shooting is terrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Hive Guard look fine. Most things look nerfed, which is good. That's what we're hoping for, is that most things will be nerfed overall. But the thing that I'm noticing that isn't really nerfed very much is some of the melee profiles on the units. They're still mostly nerfed, but not as much as I would initially expect. And I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. If the big bugs are going to murder you in every which way, that's good. That they should do that for the most part. But they seem like they're a much more of a battle shock army, a control army, putting down spores, forcing battle shock, causing problems if you are battle shocked, and so on. So I like where we're at. I like where we're at overall. Some of the combos look interesting. I'd say as far as initial rundowns go, we're pretty good. You know, I'm not like insanely wowed, but I'm not particularly like upset either. This is a very solid like B+. Nothing about this is really screaming at me as problematic. Nothing about it is screaming at me as too weak. I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right. Well, that's a long one. This is Tyranids. They don't have a giant model range. Are you guys excited for the 2-hour-long video of Space Marines? I'm not. Go ad revenue. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.